ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यास ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैस्तिकी। Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 24, titled Worshipping Govardhana Hill. Text number 28. Annibhya cha asvachandala patitebhya yatha arhata yavasam cha gavam dhatva giraye diyatam bali. अन्येभ्यश्च स्वचाण्डाला पतितेभ्यो यथार्हता यावसं च गवं दात्वा गिरये दीयतां बलि. अन्येभ्यश्च स्वचाण्डला पतितेभ्यो यथार्हता यवसं च गहं दत्त्वा गिरये दीयतां बलि. अन्येभ्यश्च स्वचाण्डला पतितेभ्यो यथार्हता यवसं च गवां दत्त्वा गिरये दीयतां बलि. अन्येभ्यश्च स्वचाण्डाला Mataji's Anyebhya to the others. Cha also Ashwa Chandala, even down to the dogs and the dog eaters. Patitebhya, to such fallen persons. Yatha, as. Arhata, he is proper in each case. Yavasam, grass. Cha, and. Gavam, to the cows. Dhatva, having given. Giraye, to the mountain called Govardhana. Diyatam, should be presented. Bali, respectful offerings. Translation and purport to the next verse by disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. After giving the appropriate food to everyone else, including such fallen souls as dogs and dog eaters, you should give grass to the cows and then present your respectful offerings to Govardhana hill. There is no purport to this verse, so we'll go to the next verse, text number 29. Swalankrita bhuktvanta swanulipta suvasasa pradakshinam cha kuruta govipranala pravrutan. Translation: after everyone has eaten to his satisfaction, you should all dress and decorate yourselves handsomely. Smear your bodies with sandalwood paste and then circumambulate the cows, the brahmanas, the sacrificial fires and Govardhana hill. Purport: Lord Krishna wanted all the human beings and even the animals to eat nice Bhagavat Prasadam, sanctified foods offered to the Lord. To enthuse his relatives with a festive mood, he requested them to dress beautifully with fine clothes and ornaments and to refresh their bodies with luxurious sandalwood paste. The essential activity, however, was the circumambulation of the holy Brahmana, cows, sacrificial fires, and especially the Govardhana hill. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Milidam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamine iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Evacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। ताप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10th, chapter titled Worshipping Govardhana Hill. And we know how today's verse, where Krishna is introducing a ritual, in one sense, but it is introduced by Krishna. Just to go back in short, for those who are not very familiar, this is a very amazing pastime, very popular, especially in our society. There's an annual festival on this pastime. So small child Krishna one day asked Nanda Maharaj, what are you doing? What is all this about? Now this was a ritual Nanda Maharaj was performing, and Krishna wanted to know that why are you doing it? Now most of the time in our country there are so many rituals, but you ask someone, why are you performing? You will not get a proper answer. Of course, Nanda Maharaj knew a very bona fide Shastric answer. He knew about it. And he said, we are agriculturists. So we depend on grains. We depend on cows. Cows depend on grass. And all these things depend on. And who is the rain god? So this is a tradition that every year we worship Indra. Perfect, This is a tradition. Now, if we ask anyone performing ritual, what will be the answer you'll get? Most of the time the answer you'll get that this is what I learned from my mother, and she learned from her grandmother, and this is what we have been doing for ages, and we continue to do it because if we don't do it, there is some bad luck. So out of this fear, we do it. Or someone may say, this is our family tradition. We have been doing it for years together, and it is for God. I don't care whether God exists or not, but I am fearful that if I don't do it, there will be something bad. So out of fear that there is something bad, I want to continue. You don't care whether there is any God or not, but I want to continue. That means out of just some fear. But here Nanda Maharaj gave an answer, but then Krishna had his own purpose. Now he counteracted that by saying, why Indra? How can be a rain god? You think just the rain is falling because you are worshipping him, but the rain is also falling on the ocean. The ocean is not doing anything. So this way, this small child, when he spoke with that innocence, without any that simplicity, Nanda Maharaj, they loved him so much. Even though he knew that he accepted it. Okay, we'll do it. Now, as such children, they are said that when they speak, it is very charming. And just imagine when the Lord comes as a child, how charming he must be. He can mesmerize anyone, right, by his way he speaks. So I was just hearing a few days back, what Prabhupada disciple Bhima Prabhu was saying about children. He was narrating one story. He's saying there was one king, and the king had ordered for a dress, and his tailor was crook. He was not delivering it on time. So this king was asking him, when is it going to get ready? He said, very soon, it is coming. But the king was very upset. He said, please tell me when. So then the tailor said, yes, it's ready. I am delivering it, but there is one condition. The condition is foolish people will not be able to see it. This was a condition. So the next day the tailor came with a dress. He held the dress like this. And the king could not see the dress. But what was the condition? Foolish people could not see it. So the king said, my God, if I say I can't see it, I am foolish. So he said, so he didn't want anyone to know that he is foolish. So he accepted the dress, thinking that he could see it. So till that time the word had spread already that there is a very special dress made by this tailor to the king, and foolish people will not be able to see it. So the king dressed up with that dress, and he was walking out of his palace. So the word had already spread that there is a very special dress the tailor has made, and foolish people will not be able to see it. So no one said anything. Because if you say anything, you are foolish. So the king was walking, and this time one small child, just 5-year-old child, he came running, and he saw that, and he looked at the king, oh, why the king is not dressed up today? So everyone, because the child was so innocent, he was not thinking. So the thing is this, because of the child's innocence, the truth was revealed. Now here Krishna as a small child, he also is acting. Maybe sometimes the action may be very contradictory. Like he is saying here that why Indra? Now he is saying take all the foodstuffs, go to Govardhan. Then here he is saying offer all the prasads to the most fallen people, give the priests, give them dakshina, and after everything is over, what is he saying here, today's verse? You circumambulate. And circumambulate whom? An animal, a human being, and a mountain. Isn't it crazy? One sense, if you don't have the knowledge, what type of ritual is this? How is it? Why do we do this? So circumambulation is one of the ritual where you go around, or in other words it is said parikrama. But if there is no proper education, I am sure we all have experienced, we are confronted when we preach. Why do you do this? Now about circumambulation, it is said in Nectar of Devotion. Now we'll just talk about circumambulation. Just turning, which we do, daily we do. We do circumambulation of a plant. If you don't know what is this plant, again it is something crazy. You're circumambulating a plant, you're worshipping a plant. Who is Tulsi Maharani? If you know it, makes a lot of difference. So in Nectar of Devotion it is said that by circumambulating, now this is knowledge, but how you do it is going to make the difference. Knowledge says that by circumambulating, you are counteracting the circumambulation of birth and death. That means the cycle of birth and death. Now we all know that we are all bound by the cycle of birth and death. Every one of us are bound. Birth and death. And by circumambulating, that means it's a very sober mood, isn't it? With this mood, if you are circumambulating, so when the mood is like this, that ritual becomes a vehicle to connect it to some higher consciousness. Otherwise, if you are caught up only with the ritual, it is just a ritual. But also an explanation given in Nectar of Devotion that when you circumambulate, every one of us has a desire to travel. No one can say that, people have a desire. Then you feel, oh, I should go there, I should go here, I should go to these places. But he said that when you circumambulate with proper attitude, with this feeling, a Vishnu deity, all your desires to travel, even to the whole universe, is erased. You become fulfilled, content. Even desires to go to all the holy places, especially where river Ganges is flowing. When you circumambulate 3 or 4 times around the temple, is as good as you have gone to all these holy places. Now this is education, this is knowledge. Just imagine when Prabhupada went. Now in the beginning there were no temples. And when he was preaching, the most popular thing those days, one activity, even you can say that as a ritual, was meditation. People will talk only about meditating. And Prabhupada is the one who started temples. And he is the one who started deity worship, people would have called idol worship, and tulsi, and offering. If there is no knowledge, it is something, what is happening? Anyone who has no knowledge, I'm sure even when taking birth in a country like India with all this little culture, coming and seeing that people are dancing with their hands raised, not me. I will never do that, because how can you dance? In a temple you dance? You never heard about dancing, It should be a very grave mood, you fold your hands, maybe you offer obeisance, okay, but dancing. But there is a science behind everything what is done. This is not just some concocted ideas. So Prabhupada started it and he introduced Aarti. When you talk about, now Aarti, we daily are doing Aarti. You are watching people doing Aarti. Now what is the intent of the person who is doing the Aarti? It's a very prestigious service. Not everyone can't do it. Everyone don't get a chance to do it. But what is it? Now what is the science behind it? When you do an Aarti, when you're offering incense, now there is fragrance in that. Now where is that incense coming from? Earth. And Krishna says, I am the fragrance of that earth. Now you're offering that, my Lord, this is for your pleasure. And whom does it belong to, that fragrance? Him. Offering it with that. And what about diya? Now what is the nature of diya? Is light and warmth. Now whom does that belong to, that material element? It is coming from him. So remember many years back during the yatra, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj who said that when you offer the diya, the light fire is like your soul. And the ghee is like hearing and chanting. You are nourishing the soul. So you are offering that nourished soul to the Lord. Now this is education. So when you offer it with that mood, and not only that, you only put chamar, it is air. Again, this is a material element. Water, I am the taste of water. You're offering that. That means all these things which are there in the material world existing, which is for our sustenance, we cannot live without that. So with a very grateful heart, offering to the Lord. Does it make a lot of difference? So without that, it becomes a ritual. So of course there is some benefit. It is not that. Prabhupada introduced this because eventually he wanted that there will be transformation, there will be character development, people will develop good Vaishnava qualities. Otherwise, what is the purpose of the ritual? If the ritual is not going to transform heart, it is not going to change a person, then it just remains a ritual. So here it is said, circambulate, Govardhana, circambulating. So this way, we should understand that how ritual plays a very integral part of all religion. But if there is no proper education, it will only, instead of developing good qualities, what will come out? Just some type of a hatred or animosity. Because every religion, every faith, there is a ritual which is completely different. But if you don't know the essence, for example, for many years back, I'm sure few of you must have noticed this, there was one issue in Mumbai. The followers of Islam, they were offering their namaz on Friday, and it was causing traffic jam because certain areas, certain time of the it was closed, shut. So they'll offer, that is their namaz. Now they are causing inconvenience. So one political party, it mobilized all the Hindus. We should also come on the road. And we should also do Aarti. And there were for a few, and they selected Tuesday as the day. So certain areas in the city, people will gather in front of temple and they purposely will block the road just because they are doing like this, so we will do like this. Now what is the essence of that ritual? Whether you are offering namaz or you are offering Aarti. The whole essence of it is to develop that consciousness where you are offering everything to the Lord, surrendering to Him, developing that kindness, that love for everyone. Where is the question about hatred? So if there is no education, rituals, when it is just external, just talking about that only creates hatred. This is, it was a very serious thing, but then slowly the Aarti went up, but the namaz is going on. But certain areas there. But still, when you do namaz, you think this is the only way. But the essence is, it is just a vehicle. If it is properly done, then it transports the consciousness to that divine consciousness. It connects it. See what a powerful media, imagine. So rituals are there. You cannot separate ritual. In Nectar of Devotion, there are how many rituals? 64. How you take Charanamrit, you are bowing down, you are circumambulating, everything is mentioned. Following Ekadashi, reading Shastra, chanting, symbols, ringing bell, festivals. All are something which the purpose is to achieve that. In the beginning, even if it is a vidhi, but slowly it becomes very profound. This is what it should be. But if it is not there, then we just get caught up with the externals. Just like in the previous chapter, how the Brahmanas were so caught up in their external thing. Maharaj gives an example that someone is working very hard, he's completely absorbed working in his computer, and someone is coming, please take your paycheck. This is this month's paycheck, your salary. No, don't disturb me. I am busy. You're talking. It's nonsense. You're working for this, you're getting it. You don't have time for that. So similarly, when you get externally, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu gives a very nice example in his book. He says how it's just like a car, you leased a car and you are so busy taking care of the car and you have forgotten to drive the car. So when the lease gets over, you have lost the car and you have lost the opportunity to travel to another destination. because he didn't know what it was for. So externals are given more importance, then we lose the essence of it. So this is how Prabhupada introduced this with one intention, that this ritual will become spiritual if properly educated. He showed it by several examples. I just remember, of course this was very interesting, that how a simple act can be so spiritual. Now when Yamuna Mataji, you know that how exalted she is, very, very senior and very much deep in her devotion. So Braj Bihari Prabhu in Vrindavan, not our Radha Gopinath Braj Bihari, the one who was, so he used to tell me, he said, I once hidingly I was observing Yamuna Mataji because she was staying on my first floor and I was there on the, so he wanted to see, now this is Prabhupada disciple, taken birth in the Western world. I am sure from childhood not much culture. But then she comes in contact with Prabhupada. Then she follows Prabhupada's instructions. She becomes so submissive to Prabhupada. And see how so he noticed her offering this bhoga. Now no one is watching her. She doesn't know anyone is watching. She is offering the bhoga, and you to see the bhoga, you have to be very fortunate to see the plate how she prepares the bhoga. And she offers, and she is explaining all the details to the Lord. And he is hidingly watching. See, what is this made up of? It has got this spice is there, this is bitter. This is this content. This has got this is liquid, this is little spicy, and there this sugar is there. So you notice this. Now this is one sense a ritual. But will you call it a ritual? See the consciousness, so much absorption in directly offering it to the Lord. But there is one more thing what happened with Prabhupada for us. This is also something to learn. Because it's Prabhupada trained them. Prabhupada used to train them, and it is of course going for all of us. So once she was personally cooking for Prabhupada. So this was in Vrindavan again. So she was making chapati. Now that day she had some interaction or something with the management, some policy, and her consciousness was very disturbed. But she prepared that chapati, and the chapati went to Prabhupada. The personal servant came back and said, I think you don't know how to make chapati. Prabhupada has told me to do chapati. The personal servant came. So she was surprised that, who can make better chapati than she's the best. So the personal servant made, and he didn't know how to make. But she said, no, Prabhupada said I should make it. So he did it. She said, okay, you do it. And she saw him doing it. And it was like this something. It definitely was not proper. It was burnt, charred. And he didn't know what is good because he never had done chapati. And he took the chapati. And after some time she was waiting. I'm sure Prabhupada is going to send a message that you don't know how to do it. Go and tell her. The message came back. The servant came back. Prabhupada wants you to make chapati like this. So immediately that clicked. Immediately she realized what Prabhupada wanted to teach her. Because her consciousness that day, when she was preparing, so Prabhupada could experience that. So he sent a message like this. So this way, in Bhagavatam, of course, there are so many rituals going on. So one thing we should remember, that it is also said that rituals can also backfire if it is not properly done. And again in Srimad Bhagavatam, again there is a ritual of a demigod worship, but then if it is not properly done, this is a story about Bharat Maharaj, one who got attached to the deer, he became a deer next life. We all know the story. And in a deer, he was not an ordinary deer, he's remembering, and then he said, next life I am not going to get trapped by Maya. And who gets trapped by Maya? The one who is more popular. I don't want people to have no recognition. the more recognized you are, the more people know you, the more famous. The Maya has got something very stronger to attack you. So he said, this life, I will act as if I am a fool. So he would wash hands after it all rubbish people used to ridicule him. No one would care for him. Like a foolish person, and one time these people came and kidnapped him who were Kali worshippers. They saw him and he didn't say anything. And they were preparing him. They were doing the perfect thing to please Kali. And there is a tradition that, you sacrifice. So when they were doing that, now obviously Kali was displeased because he looks foolish, but he is a very pure devotee. So she manifested, she came out, and the same people who were doing to please Kali, she chopped off all the deaths, and only two people left were Kali and she offered her respect to Jadabharat. And Jadabharat. So Prabhupada introduced this, and it's very interesting that how rituals, one sense that you cannot separate in any act of life. If you see that in all day-to-day activities, there is a ritual. Whether you say shake hands, it is definitely a ritual, but there is an intent. Like Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's book is very interesting. So he says how he's trying to compare that how you cannot separate. It's an integral part. What to speak about? It is an integral part in material life also. You have to have. There is a form. It is a package. To deliver something, you need some form. You cannot. So he's giving an example of cricket match. Of course, cricket is a gentleman's game. Supposed to be. If you see the old video clips of cricket matches, you see how when a wicket falls, how do they behave? The players, they just come and shake hands with the bowler. And now if you see when the wicket falls, see the mood of the players. It's so aggressiveness, so joy, and this, and clapping hand, and looking at the player, sometimes abusing him, go back to the pavilion, and looking at him in a thought. It's a game actually meant for recreation and for good health. There is a real purpose, or to bring good friendship. But now because of so much commercialization and mafia getting involved and match fixing and maybe murder also going on behind, just because now this, so it is also a ritual. There is a ritual. So there are also some trends that you should act like this. You come on the pitch, there is a toss, then you decide. But then because the essence is lost, what is developing is just hatred, just animosity, just revenge, just competition, violence, so much injuries. So when rituals are there, so in even any festival there is something external to give joy. So you have to act like this. You have to create a mood. There is a party, there is a ritual. You do this, you do that. So similarly, we have all these festivals, we have singing or the chanting of hymns, but the purpose is only one thing. Through this media, you try to connect your consciousness, so then it becomes like a vehicle, or it becomes like a package to deliver. But Krishna is bhavagrahi, so he is not interested in what externally, how are you. It is your intent. The another very nice example about this ritual is to understand what is important. Is Pratap Rudra coming and sweeping. Now this is a ritual. Now externally you see Pratap Rudra coming, and now this is very popular when we invite politicians for now what is his intent? He is also sweeping. Now he is watching, that look at me, I am so humble, I am such a this, and maybe little more people will get attracted, votes. But now Pratap Rudra, now he was a person, when he was told that you will not be able to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he said, then what is the use of being a king? He said, okay, fine. If that is it, then I give up everything. Everything I'll give up so that if I can meet. Now, This is one person thinking like this. So how he must be sweeping? So when he was sweeping, he is feeling in his heart that I am the most insignificant person. I am your servant. I am servant, servant. And please, let me sweep, let me make some service, clean up the dust in front. So rituals, so Krishna is a bhava grahi. He wants to see what is there inside the package. What is the intent? What is the attitude? Otherwise, yes, a lot of recognition we get when we are in the front. There is a service. So that service, if only recognition will come. Only fame will come, or maybe some material desire will come. But that transformation will come when there is a proper education, which Prabhupada left behind. So he said in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, what is that? Atha Pumbi, what is the last line? Is Shrama Evai Kevalam. Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. So when the Lord is pleased, then it is properly done. So of course there is nothing to get discouraged, because we are all sadhana bhaktas. We are Vaidhi, we are following it. So all rituals, when the ritual, we progress in the ritual, obviously there are tests. Even in this Leela, they listen to Krishna. Okay, worship, what happened? Of course there was a test. They all had to take shelter. But there was a need to take shelter. There is one very nice pastime where in context to circumambulation this happened. But very unique thing happened in this during Prabhupada's last days. Now the issue was about circumambulation. But what came out was real devotional emotions which came from his followers, where Prabhupada had trained them, he has given them instructions, and during that time the circumambulation issue brought out his emotion. That was a perfection. Ultimately all rituals are meant to bring out those qualities. So this happened when Prabhupada was bedridden, we all know. It's a very sad leela that we don't like to discuss much. Prabhupada was completely bedridden, he had no strength to get up, what to speak about walking. And the Vaidyas, they would come and say that this will work, that will work, nothing worked. And he said, I don't want to do anything. But disciples would say, no. Prabhupada said, take me for parikrama. So they took Vrindavan temple parikrama on a palanquin, that's all. They can't go beyond that. They're waiting that, no Prabhupada, you'll get back the strength. All the personal Prabhupada's very dear disciples. Then Prabhupada said one day, okay, I think I should go on Tirtha places, holy places. So they were seriously started thinking about Prabhupada had no strength. But he said, I want to go. Because if I leave my body anywhere, you can get my body back here. To Vrindavan or Mayapur. But I will go. This is my life meant. And it was a very bad state. He could not eat anything. His urine was dark colored. So in this state, then Loknath Maharaj came. His Holiness Loknath Maharaj already was into Padayatra. So he had already gone to Badrinath. He had visited some place and he was coming and giving report. So Loknath Maharaj was doing Padayatra. I think already started. I am not very sure. So Prabhupada said, I have a desire to circumambulate Govardhana. How will he circumambulate? He can't even know. And Loknath Maharaj has got the bullock cart and I will go in there. So there was one group of disciples, they said that Prabhupada, you will not survive. The bullock, going on a bullock cart, and Prabhupada had just bones. He had no muscles there. Skin and bones. You just imagine skin and bones, no muscles, and traveling on a bullock cart. So now one side, they can't even see that, how can Prabhupada travel? Prabhupada saying, I want to go. Gopinath Maharaj and his group, they are saying, this is Prabhupada's desire. We have to fulfill his desire. He wants to go for parikrama, Govardhan. there was a very strong type of conflict between the disciples. See, what type of conflict it is. Huh? It is not a conflict where, someone is trying to prove, I am better than you, or here is a conflict where both of them were expressing their love to serve Prabhupada. So it was a very intense situation. One side saying no, and then Prabhupada's one god brother, Krishna Das Babaji. So he said, I think Prabhupada, you should be staying back, you should not go. So that time Prabhupada said, just look at my disciples, how much love they have for me. Now this is a ritual, our contest was a ritual, but the perfection of that ritual was the essence, the whole goal, the objective, why we perform essence. It's that love. The love was coming out through his disciples and they expressed it. So this is the perfection of all ritual. Not just for the sake of doing it. So education is very much needed, and Prabhupada's mercy, we have a chance to read Nectar of Devotion, understand why we do this. Because we are caught up in our own thing, we have our own desires, we have our own false ego. That time it is very difficult to understand why we are doing it. That's because the state of consciousness, it's contaminated. But with this, at least aspiring for it and continuously doing it, is sure it will help. So in this age, the most important ritual is, same thing, is chanting. Chanting is also a ritual. It's just a ritual, it is, 16 rounds, you chant, or just get it done. But if it is done with that same mood that, such a powerful thing. Imagine how powerful is chanting. We repeatedly hear that in Satyuga it was Dhyana Yoga, and Treta Yuga it was Yagya, in Dwapara Yuga it was deity worship. All they are also rituals. But the ritual recommended in this age, Kali Yuga, imagine just chanting. Even yoga, which is so very popular, it's a ritual. You sit, yoga. Now no one talks about what is the ultimate purpose of yoga. The ultimate purpose of yoga is not to get a healthy body. Because there is no proper education about it. All the yam, niyama, it ends in what? Complete absorption of the mind is completely fixed. To train the mind, you do these activities. So this body, the way the body is designed, the body is not designed like this. So there is a psychosomatic connection. Mind and the body, so there is a correlation between mind, body. So how you act, it creates some type of emotions. Like example, coming and offering our body in front of the deities. Now this act is definitely creates some humility. God, you are great. I am offering it. Once when Prabhupada, everyone offered obeisance, and one person said, I don't feel like offering obeisance. This person, he just stood. I am not offering obeisance. I don't feel like. He said, you feel like or you don't feel like, offer it. Because one day you will have to offer. And that is at the time of death. At the time of death, you have to fall flat. So this is, so coming back to this point about, that how chanting is the one tool or one ritual. If it is done, it takes us, this is the only thing which is said in Kali Yuga that we can do. And that also finding it very difficult. So why we are finding it difficult? Because we feel, I'm just thinking about that. Why I don't feel like, taking, because we don't feel the need to take shelter. Do you feel the need to take shelter? It's okay. What is the need? So if the need arises to take shelter, some situations you see in life, you see in other people's life, there are some situations, there is nothing else but take shelter. But seeing other people's state, it is applicable to us, everyone will have to face, then you take shelter. So ritual can become spiritual with proper education and attitude. So it is a science. If it is properly done, the results will be real glorious. Hare Krishna. So we already 9:15. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Puran ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Jai.